welcome to our bonus session today. If you are joining me live, let me know in the comments because I actually have some really great content for you today. I'm talking niche or niche, whatever you say. I'm talking about how to position and price yourself as a high ticket service provider. So much goodness coming your way today. I want to hear from you. How are you feeling today? What's going on in your life? Are you enjoying these sessions and everything we've been teaching? What's a takeaway? Is it sunny? Are you sitting outside? I should go sit outside. I will do that later, but I am excited to dive into our content today. So let me know where you're watching from. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I've actually got some guests joining us. So I want to get through some of the content and then we'll do some of it at the end. So I'm going to talk about the niching down at the front end, which keeps so many people stuck. And then I'm going to talk about pricing, positioning, after I bring on my guests. So you need to stick around. Okay, so let's dive in because we have gotten so many questions around niche, right? People are thinking about joining us inside our 90-day sprint. They want to know, do I need to have a niche nailed down? Do I need to have absolute clarity around my ideal client? Do I need this all dialed in? And the answer is no, you don't need it all dialed in. During our 90-day sprint, we're actually going to walk you through in the first 2 weeks, literally all of that foundational work. And I call that foundational because those places are the starting point for your marketing, for your sales, for your outreach. Now, for those of you who are experienced business owners, you've been doing some things, you will probably move through that phase a little bit faster, but we always tweak things, right? People come to us with offers all the time. In just a few minutes, we'll tweak the positioning or the ideal client or the niche slightly to get them more momentum and more traction. If you've got none of that figured out, or maybe you've just been kind of generally providing services, maybe you're just generally doing marketing, maybe you're just generally doing coaching and you haven't really found that lane, we're going to help you get really, really clear on that. But I want to share a couple of things about why do you need a niche? What does niche look like? How narrow do you need to go? There's a couple of ways to niche down. And I think sometimes we get stuck on a demographic. We think I have to niche down to women who are 37, who live in California, who make soaps for a living, and that is all I can do. And I'm going to teach them how to post on Instagram, right? So we want to get the super narrow niche. There's multiple ways to niche down. You can niche down by demographic. So if you are a health coach and you specialize in, women who are postpartum, that's certainly a demographic, right? They're women of a certain age range. They have a specific life event that they are very unique, right? Maybe you help people who are in menopause, right? Again, that's a specific demographic. But there are other ways to niche down, and we walk you through all of this. We have niched down with a psychographic. We work with people who have a business athlete mindset. So guess what? We have clients from hundreds of industries. Now, we do niche down into service providers, so we don't work with people who do product-based businesses, but we do work with people who provide services across hundreds of industries. They are all ages. We have people that are 25 and we have people that are 65. We have men, we have women, we have parents, we have people who are married, people who are single, we have people all over the world. But our niche and where we kind of put the stake in the ground is you have got to be in it to win it. You are not someone who's looking for the magic easy button. You're looking for quick, easy money. You are in it to build a legacy. You are in it to do the work. You are in it to make a difference. You are honest. You operate with integrity, and you show up to do the reps required for success. That's a mindset. So our niche demographically is huge. Our niche psychographically is really, really small because most people want easy. Most people want the quick fix. We work with people who have a long-term vision of wealth. They're not looking to make quick money today, although many do. They're looking to build lifetime wealth, lifetime freedom. They want to actually help people, not just make money and run. They want to show up and serve the world with their gifts, and they're willing to do the work required. So you see, that's a very different niche than saying we work with coaches or we work with fitness pros, right? It's an entirely different way to niche down, but it's still niching down. It's still narrowing your audience. Lastly, the way you can niche down, which a lot of people do, and this is totally a matter of preference, is you might niche down by your methodology, right? Maybe you're someone who does health and fitness and your methodology is intermittent fasting. Maybe you're someone who teaches business and your methodology is teaching group programs. Maybe you're someone who does marketing and your methodology is content marketing, right? So that's another way to niche down. The caution we have and why we don't always talk about this is that so often people get so stuck on their niche. They don't take any action. And the problem with that is that you cannot gain clarity on your niche until you are working with clients, because I guarantee what you think you want will change when you're actually in the trenches, when you're actually doing the work. I told this story earlier in the week. I thought as a copywriter, I wanted to work with course creators because there's a million of them. I could charge great high ticket prices, and it was pretty easy for me. I could do that kind of in my sleep. Guess what? I got tons of those clients, lots of them. And you know what I found out? I didn't like them. My bank account was growing, but I was bored. I didn't like working on that kind of content. It just felt like another thing, like another sales page, another email sequence. It all felt very much the same to me. I wouldn't have known that until I did that. And not just once. I wouldn't have known that until I did that multiple times and was able to see, I don't really like this. Guess what? At the same time, I had started working with 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs on just their content, their thought leadership, their intellectual property, their actual storefront to the world, the things that people were, making buying decisions by. And I loved that. I loved getting into their minds and writing out the content that would communicate what they did and what they knew and their expertise to the world. I wouldn't have known that until I got my first client that was in that world. So when you think about niching down, it's so important that you take baby steps and that you recognize that there's more than one way to do that. Because at the end of the day, it's definitely not a cookie cutter one and done and you get to move on. Now, inside our 90-day sprint, you are going to have my eyes on your business for 90 days. I am going to give you absolute clarity. I am super honest. If I don't think your niche is profitable, I will say, no, don't do that. You're not going to make money. If I think that you're kind of going in a direction that's too narrow or that's not narrow enough, I'm going to give you that feedback and I'm going to help you fine tune it and tweak it. Someone asked yesterday, are you going to do that individually for us? Yes, these group coaching calls, you get a hot seat. You get to ask your questions. I'm going to look at your business. When we do our one-on-ones, whether it's with me or Kyrie, we're going to look at your business and make specific recommendations based on your industry, your business, your goals. And we have done this for hundreds of our clients. You'd be surprised how quickly we can do it because we've done it for so many people. So when you join us inside the sprint, you don't have to figure this out alone. Kelly's got trainings on this that you're going to get access to. And then we are going to workshop it through with you because sometimes you're a little bit too much in your head and that keeps you stuck. We want people taking action. You don't get to 20K a month by thinking about things. You only get to that goal that you wrote down on your paper by actually taking consistent action. And that is what I'm going to be ruthless about in this 90-day sprint. Consistent action, not overthinking, putting the content out there, making the phone call, sending the message, sending the email, following up. You cannot make the progress you want to make by pontificating. You cannot make the progress you want to make by watching YouTube videos. You cannot make the progress you want to make by thinking about what's next or even by setting goals. Sometimes just writing goal on paper makes you feel like you've accomplished something. You haven't. Until the money is in the bank, You haven't accomplished anything. Let's get you there. Okay. So at the end of the day, I know niche sounds so big, it sounds so overwhelming, it sounds so crazy. It is simple. It doesn't have to be perfect. You will change your niche, and we are going to help you get out of the muck of that so that you can actually take action. Now, the one reason it is important to have a good general understanding is because when you start creating content, you want to have a person in mind, a real person in mind, not a fake made up avatar. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. We live in a world full of real people. So we're going to teach you how to figure out exactly what your people want to hear. We're going to teach you how to create great content, and we're going to teach you how to turn that content into conversations, which, Kelly talked about earlier this week, are the lifeblood of your business. That's how sales get done. Conversation. So at the end of the day, you've got to take action. You've got to know your niche enough to be able to create valuable content and to be able to start those conversations, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be spick and span on day one for you to start moving. And in fact, most people spend way too much time on it. They go way too narrow at the beginning. They end up hating it and having to do a complete 180, which confuses the market. So we want to keep you from making that mistake, because at the end of the day, if you don't just start taking action with a general direction that you're heading in, you're going to struggle. You're going to stay stuck, and I want to help you get unstuck. So if you haven't already, I want you to go to kellyroachcoaching.com/sprint. You can join us. We are kicking off next week. So an email is going out Monday. Our first meeting is Friday. Then it's going to be every Wednesday. So every Wednesday from 3 to 4 p.m., you're going to meet with me, and we're going to have group coaching together. Now, every Monday, you're going to receive an email with that week's focus. Sometimes it will be a training. Sometimes it will be an activity. Sometimes it will be a workbook. It depends on where we are and what we're doing. But every week you will receive an email that says, here's your assignment for the week. Listen to this training, do this exercise. This is your daily activity. So that when we get to our call, you've already done that work and you're ready to get coaching either on that specific thing or just on something else that's come up, because when you're running a business, lots of stuff comes up, and I know it's not going to be specific to the trainings we send. So those calls are for whatever you need them for. But every Monday you get that activity or that focus or that training. And then every Wednesday we do our coaching call all together. We also will have a Facebook group where you're going to be held accountable for the activity and the actions that you take. Listen, at the end of the day, we're all human, and we are going to need a little kick in the pants sometimes. We need somebody to say, hey, did you do what you said you're going to do? Did you actually post what you were supposed to post? Did you actually send the messages you were supposed to send? Did you make the calls you were supposed to make? This is going to keep you focused and strategically working towards your goal. There's accountability built in. I'm not going to call you every day, so don't stress out, but there is going to be accountability built in, and there's going to be zero time wasted. Zero time wasted. We are not tinkering around with things that don't work. The only thing that we're sending out each week will be what we think is actually going to move the needle for you. So if you are someone who is serious about making your goals a reality, if you are someone who is tired of the struggle and being stuck, if you are someone who wants to take specific, clear action to reach your goals, this is for you. If you're someone who's looking for a quick fix, if you're someone who's looking to press an easy button, if you're looking for some magical unicorn trick that requires no work to grow $1 million business, this is not for you. That's not what this is. You can probably pay 8 million people to do that for you, and you will get very little in return, but that's fine. We work with people who are building a legacy through their business. We work with people who are changing lives. We work with people who care, people who are willing to show up and do the work. So if that's you, go to kellyroachcoaching.com/sprint. And I'm going to bring up our very first guest. Hello, Elizabeth. How are you?
Hi, Danielle. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do, what your business is all about.
Sure. So I'm Elizabeth Yang. I am a monetization business strategist, and I help high ticket service providers stay fully booked with happy sales opportunities to create legendary life. That's what I'm all about.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are like, wait, what? She helps people get more conversation started. We talked about that on earlier in the week, how a major, sticking point for people is that they're not having enough sales conversations. So
Conversations equals sales. That's the only thing that you need to remember, and everything needs to be targeted towards conversations because that's really what generates sales.
Amen. All right. So tell us a little bit about, I always love to get a before and after picture. So you work with us in one of our coaching programs. Tell us where you were before and tell us where you are now.
So before I started working with Kelly, I had already done some variations of live launches. I knew that it was a method that I really appreciated. My business was already 6 figures, and I was just really in the state of business where I was growing. And it was no longer about the mechanics or the strategy. It was really about how do I hire? How do I fire? How do I set up my business in a way where I can start to build a team and begin to consistently bring in more sales and obviously, aspiring to hit that next level of sales in my business. And so when I came across Kelly, I just really felt like she was the right person for me because a lot of what she talks about is business fundamentals. And that to me was something that I really resonated with because I am also an ex corporateer recovering type A, is what I like to say. And it was just a lot of strategy and fundamentals that a lot of gurus just weren't teaching at that time. They were teaching the tactics and the strategies, which I nailed down. But then now I'm like, okay, how do I go back and build the fundamentals so that I can hire and scale and get to that next level in my business?
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you shared that you had kind of gotten to 6 figures doing this tactical thing. How much easier would it have been to start from there? So we're talking to people right now. They're kind of at like the 2 to 5K a month in their business, not quite at 6 figures. And this is where people, like I always say, I used to coach gymnastics, and everyone wants to coach the big girls because they do all the fun tricks. I always wanted to coach it the first 3 years of competition because there's no mistakes to undo. Like you can teach them stuff the right way. So tell me kind of what are the things that would have been so critical to you at the beginning that people need when they're getting started to hit that 6 figure mark?
So first of all, I wish I had this when I first started. Because I think that oftentimes when you're first starting out, you think it's mechanics and mindset. And even though it's really both, you really need to make sure you're working on the right thing, right? It's like you can be super busy, you can put in such high effort working on that one task, but if it's the wrong task, it doesn't move the needle in your business. And so if I had to go back and do it again, I would say make sure that you're really focused on, am I working on the right thing? I know we know the 80-20 rule, but it's amazing how when you're first starting out, you'll gravitate towards what you're comfortable with. You'll gravitate towards what you're familiar with, and you'll try to avoid the things that really you need to be doing, which is conversations that equals sales. And you just will find every excuse not to do it. And so I really, wish I had the sprint when I first started. I think we often overestimate what we can accomplish and we underestimate life. And, I think this is a really great way just to keep it bite-sized and be laser focused on really the right thing that's going to move the needle. I call it the big domino, right? It's like the one big domino that will make everything else easier or unnecessary. As you grow your business at every level, you're always looking at the big domino. And oftentimes it's not the one that's screaming at you. It's not the one with the due date. It's not the one that is knocking at your door asking you to respond. And so it can be a little deceiving when you first start out.
Yeah, I think that's so important because what you highlighted is what so many people experience. You can work very hard and get like no results because you're not working on the right things, or because you're not looking at what is the big domino and focusing on that, so that when you knock it down, you'd be surprised how easily those things you spent time, productively working on, that's not very productive, you'd be surprised how those things kind of take care of themselves, or how you can pay someone else when you're making money to do those things so you don't have to do those things. So there's such wisdom in that. Tell us a little bit about some of your wins. What does business look like now?
So fast forward, I mean, it's been almost a year, and I think, if you're watching this, I just want to encourage you to think about your growth not in incremental, like a linear path. I think what you're going to find with Kelly and her team, and one of the reasons why I invested in Kelly was really because I knew not that only Kelly was amazing, but I needed to surround myself with possibilities, like a different level caliber of people. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know what it is, but I really needed that inspiration or motivation of what's possible. And so I want to just encourage you, if you're watching this, to be like, you know what? You can just put at this for 2 months and all of a sudden your growth is going to boom be there. And that's exactly what I experienced. Since joining Kelly's team, I've hired and fired so many more people than I have, and it's been a roller coaster ride, but because of that I have grown and learned so much. And I think the biggest thing is you start to learn, and this is one of the things I've learned from Kelly, is like you start to realize what your non-negotiables are. And unfortunately, you don't realize that when you're starting out. You only realize that after you've failed. So, knowing your non-negotiables are key. I've also, had one of my biggest months ever, $90,000 in sales. And to me, that was huge. And just this week, I signed on a client for $20,000. And that's literally like double what I was charging before. And I think, and the thing that's really changed isn't so much the price point, it's really the fact that I've elevated myself, right? I often say this, like, you are the cause, sales and success is the effect. And I think, knowing that I've had to really put in that investment, in myself to commit, obviously to commit to the teachings and showing up and challenging myself to stay focused, really up leveled my mindset and skill set, and really has allowed me to look at what my non-negotiables are and what I'm truly capable of.
Yeah, and I love that, because I think that, again, you shared this, but there's a recipe for success that's equal amounts of mindset, strategy, and tactic. And so much of what we see online is focused on just tactic, and often tactics that change, like tactics that are tied to platforms we don't own and algorithms that are fickle. Whereas when you focus on the strategy and the basic skills, which is a lot of what you do, right? Like sales is a basic skill for running a business. You need to have sales, obviously, or you just have a hobby.
Yeah.
When you don't master those things and then develop the mindset required to believe more is possible, to take more action, to get uncomfortable, you will always stay stuck. You are always your ceiling, right? Like, you're never going to work harder or do more than what you believe is possible. So if you only believe that $5,000 a month is possible, you're going to keep hitting that $5,000 a month wall. When you look and say, oh, this person, you just made a $20,000 sale. You had your highest month ever. You're already at 6 figures, but you still are growing. Okay, well, maybe that's possible for me too. Let me take a different action. When you surround yourself with that, when you're held accountable to that, it changes the game. So I love that you shared that. What advice do you have for people who maybe have some fear around the investment, which I would love to say, you just said you made a $20,000 sale. That is twice the cost of this program. So for some of y'all,
I invested a lot more than what you guys are paying now. I'm just saying.
So for some of y'all, one sale will make this investment up. Yeah. What advice do you have for someone who might be fearful of taking the leap?
So I completely know like where you're at. I remember when I first started my business, and I literally like fell off my seat, pulling out a credit card, paying for a $1,500 course. Okay. I was like, oh my gosh. I never finished that course. Okay. And one of the things I've learned is to go in with the mindset of, when you make a financial investment, it's not about the money. It's about you betting on you, right? Go in with the mindset of, okay, if it's going to cost me $10,000, how many sales do I need for it to break even? And if you go in with that mindset, not just how many sales you need, but also who will I be? Remember, if you're the cause and your sales is the effect, who will you be after you've hit that magical sales number to break even? You know, that person that's going to be standing there, I can tell you that sales for me, I couldn't even sell a $100 product. Like I was so scared. And the first time I had my $10,000 DM sale, I was like, wait, is that, did I do that? Is that me? And, you know, and just now it's like, and now it's like a $10,000, $20,000 sale. You're just like, awesome. It's like nothing, right? But I wasn't always that way in the beginning. But it was going in with the mindset of, who am I going to bet on? Who am I going to bet on? And your only like 100% guarantee is you. Like, you know, people can lead you, right? A horse, you can lead them to water. You have a great team that can give you the best strategies, best priorities, but you still got to show up and do the work. And, you know, if you look at it like, how many sales do I need to break even? And who is that person, right? Who is that person that's going to be standing at the end of that sprint? Like, who is she going to be? Who is he going to be? You're going to realize that you're going to be really different because you are the cause and your sales and your business is the effect of that.
Love that. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And I always do this, so I'm going to do it for you too. Thank you for showing up and doing the work yourself, because like you said, we can give you tools, strategy, support. You showed up, you made it happen. You did the work day in and day out when no one else could see what was going on. So we appreciate you not just joining us here, but doing the work to be the success story, because that's on you for doing that awesomeness. So we appreciate you and thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks, Danielle.
Bye. All right. So I want to just highlight a couple of things. I'm going to bring someone else on in just a minute, but I think what Elizabeth said was so important. And we've said this multiple times, but investing in our program, investing in anything else that you would invest in, you're investing to gain the tools, the strategy, the accountability, the support. I already laid out everything you get all of that. We have the best strategy, the most effective tools, and we have seen them applied and helped people apply them throughout multiple industries. So I feel 1,000,000% confident that we can help you accomplish your goals. However, what you're betting on is yourself. You're betting on yourself to wake up on Monday morning when we send that email and to do the trainings, to say, okay, this feels awkward. I'm going to embrace the awkwardness and I'm going to do the thing because I believe in my goals. I believe that I can make an impact. I believe I can transform lives with the service that I offer. So you are betting on you. And I remember when I made that shift as a business owner, it radically transformed not just the growth of my business, but the confidence with which I was able to show up. And today, it's still what leads me. I still say, okay, you know what? If this doesn't work, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to bet on myself. I will learn something. I will take away a lesson. I will have a new tool. I will have a new skill, and I will be able to move forward. Most people don't accomplish their dreams because they aren't willing to do the work. Most people sit here staring at TikTok, staring at Instagram, saying, I'm going to make $1 million one day, and they will never lift a finger to do anything about it. The people who are successful long-term, they show up. They do the awkward things. They make the difficult decisions. They invest when they're scared. They take action when they don't have complete clarity. And you know what? They fail. They make mistakes. They screw up. And you know what they do? They learn, they grow, and they keep moving. They build their confidence muscle. They build their ability to make a good decision. They build their ability to understand ROI, return on investment. So they don't just put some cash in the bank on the way. They become the person who expects excellence and achievement at the next level over and over and over again. So if you want to be that person, you can't just chill on your couch and pay attention to everyone else on TikTok. You aren't going to YouTube your way into that. You have got to take daily action. So I just want to put that little encouragement out there. If you need a little bit of this kick in the pants, join me inside the sprint, where I will be giving this to you every week alongside some really great strategy and some individualized support that's going to help you meet your goals. So I want to see you in there. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
Good. All right. So
Good.
I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay, my name's Shannon, and I'm actually had several businesses that have done well over $1 million. So, but I decided to do online, and I was like, oh my God, why can't I figure this out? This is ridiculous. And I had done, like, I'm certain a lot of people are sitting out there looking at this too, where you do all these fragmented pieces. Like, I'm an adult, I know what I need. It's an Instagram coach. So you pay this phenomenal amount of money for an Instagram coach, and you learn that one little piece, but it still doesn't fill your pipeline. So I think, my business is really helping other business women like myself who are over 40, who want to learn how to do online. But I needed to be so great at it. And that's what you all totally teach. It is amazing.
Yeah, I love that. So, and I love that you said you had success somewhere else. Many of you who are watching this either live or on the replay, you've had a very successful career in corporate or as a business owner. Maybe you own a brick and mortar business and you've seen a lot of success. And then you come into this online world, and Kelly tells this story. It's very much your story. You're like, wait, I know business. I know what I'm doing, and I still can't do it. What's going on? So tell me a little bit of what that before and after looks like. When you came to us, where were you? Then now, what are some wins you've had, and where are you now in your business?
All right. So here's the thing with Elizabeth, who was talking previously, her thing was about sales. Mine isn't sales. Like, I did a mini launch. I had 7 people. I converted 45%, which is 3, right? But it was a $28,000 because I had already learned from you all about higher ticket and how to really think through your business. So that was like, oh my God, amazing. But my issue was,
stop you there. So she made 3 sales. 3 sales equal $28K.
Right.
Y'all do that math. This is $10K, this program. 3 sales, she made almost triple that. So, okay, continue. I just
So here's the thing. My goal, my next launch is in July. My goal is to have 300 people that sign up, and maybe 50 come. I have no idea, right? I'm still testing things out. However, all I know is when I started, like 8 weeks ago, I had literally 150, maybe 200 people on Instagram following me. Because I really was not filling my pipeline, and I know sales. I just didn't know how to do it in this world. So I had like 150. I now have 3,200, and it is from clarity with working with you all. Like, I was a little bit off in how I was thinking about things. And my success coach has brought me along like eons in a very short time. So my content changed radically. It's just like organically changed. So those numbers changed. Same thing with Facebook. Like, I don't know, 50 people in Facebook maybe. And now I have like about 1,500, I think. But they are people who are truly my client. They're not like friends and family. So I am ecstatic about the numbers that I have grown. And now going into the launch, I am so ecstatic because I've really got a pipeline of people who have joined because they understand me and what I'm doing. And pushing the visibility thing, which is so painful at first, was fantastic. You know what it is? We are in a holistic business program. It's like, it's looking at everything about us. Like, I was amazed how I could come in with my knowledge and still feel like, wow, there's so much to learn. That was incredible to me, right? So and it's not a fragmented approach. It's looking at me as a whole businesswoman and what are my needs, where from A to B to C, where am I in my business? And that's what's so amazing, that you can do that with basic business practices, but still get where I'm at. Like, you take the time to figure it out.
And I just want to highlight, did you say in 8 weeks?
Yeah, in 8 weeks. It's unbelievable.
So in 8 weeks, you've made $28K. You'll do another launch before that. So even if you just do exactly the same thing you did last time, that's $56K in 90 days, which is how long this sprint is. Tell me, what does it feel like to be able to move forward with confidence? You came in, and again, you were like, no business, but clearly I don't know how to do it online, to now where you feel more clarity. What does that feel like to know that those big wins not just happen once, but that are coming ahead?
Yeah, just to clarify though, it was like right at the beginning of the program when I did that mini launch, because I knew how to sell. But what I didn't know is how to bring from cold to hot within a pipeline. That marketing piece I thought was going to be radically different. Okay, so but to answer your question, the feeling is ecstatic because it's being, and it flows over into everything. It flows over into relationships. It flows over into even my team. Like I have a VA and I have a lead gen person that I just hired this weekend because I need help moving my people along now so that I don't miss too many people. And it's just, it is a really, it's confidence. It is just being excited about the day. And I'm not saying there's not days where you're like, oh my God, this is hard, because it is, it's sort of, there's things you have to do. Like you always talk about action, but it's the marketing piece that is really critical to have that real foundation done to sort of drive you to your next level in your business. And it's looking at your whole system, not just a piece.
Tell me what advice you'd give to someone who maybe is afraid to invest. They're not sure that they can do it. What advice would you give to them? They got big goals. They want to do it.
I think when you look at what the cost of this is, like you can't even buy a Chanel bag for that cost right now, right? So I am saying that depending on where you are in your life, investing now is just giving you the fire to get to that next level a lot quicker. I mean, I started this a year ago. I wish I had found you guys a year ago. I would be in such a different place right now. The investment of this is minuscule when you really think about what you'll make. It's incredible. And you just have to have the confidence. No one can give you the confidence that you need to be able to do this. But if you truly want to be a businesswoman or businessman online and do something phenomenal and transform the world and give back and do all these things, you have to invest in yourself. You can't, unless you are some brilliant whatever, which is a whole different category. But if you're like me, you've been successful in life, and I call myself an experienced, rich business coach, right? So if you want success, you have to invest in yourself. It's part of the manicure, pedicure, get your hair done, pay for your coaching. It's part of that.
Amen. And what it does is it accelerates your path, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have experience. You probably could have figured stuff out, right? Like eventually you would have figured some of this out, but having someone from the outside come in, look at your business and say, here's where you're missing it. This is where you need to go. This is the next step. This is the strategy. And then you saying, okay, I'm going to do those things, which is really important. You're coachable. You did accelerated that. It could have taken you 9 months to a year to figure those things out. So tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, Danielle, I spent like $65,000 last year on other coaching, but it was fragmented. And I feel like an idiot now. Like, why didn't I think that this needed to be like a big picture about what I needed to do? I don't know what I was thinking. I just like had a blip, So the $10,000 to invest in this program is so minuscule compared to what I've spent last year. And I have gotten I cannot even relay the amount of information and growth I have had in my business, just me as a businesswoman, since doing an investment in myself in this program. It is just the fragmented approach to cutting and pasting. It's like you have a puzzle and there's still pieces missing after a year. You've spent all this money. I've spent all this money. And I'm like, what is wrong? Why couldn't I figure this out? It was simply not seeing one of your sponsored ads earlier, right? Yes.
Sorry, we'll work on that to get those out to more people. I do appreciate you showing up. And again, I say this all the time, I appreciate you doing the work, because at the end of the day, we give you the tools, we give you the strategy, we give you support, but you show up and you do the thing. So we appreciate you being coachable, doing the work. What is something you'd want to leave our listeners, our watchers with as before you leave?
Invest right now, because I'm telling you, you will be so ecstatic when Christmas comes this year, or whatever holiday you do or don't celebrate, that you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best gift I gave myself. You're toasting it New Year's going, that amount of money took me over the top. I can't believe what I've done. I don't even know why anyone would hesitate. After knowing what we do, what we get in this program, I don't know why anyone would hesitate.
Wow. Mic drop. I don't need anything else. Thank you for joining me today. Sure. We appreciate you so much, and you have a great rest of your Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. I don't have a ton more to add to that. I do want you to picture yourself on New Year's Eve. Okay. On New Year's Eve, when everyone's like, I'm going to do all these great things for my life. I want you to think back to New Year's Eve last year. What were the goals that you set? What were the things that you promised yourself you would do? Then I want you to think to your New Year's Eve tonight, not tonight. It's not New Year's Eve, this year, 2022, and think, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Now, you can sit here and say, well, I'm going to get there myself, in which case, awesome. We wish you luck. We hope you got insane value out of this workshop. If you want to be like Karen and like Elizabeth, and you want to speed up your path, you want to not waste thousands of dollars, you want to not waste hundreds of hours, you want to actually get to doing the things that move the needle, this is designed specifically for you. 90 days. It's not selling your whole life away. It's $10,000. Most of you, that will be one, maybe two clients after we get done tweaking a little bit. So you can make this happen, but you do have to be committed. You do have to be willing to do the work. There will be weeks where the assignments that we give and the things we hold you accountable for are going to feel out of your comfort zone. But guess what? Think about going to the gym. If you always lift the same weight over and over, nothing changes in your body, because you have to have a little bit of discomfort to tear the muscle apart, to rebuild it, right? That's how people work out. That's how we exercise. So you've got to understand that you're going to have to take some leaps. You're going to have to be willing to try new things, to do the hard things, to be awkward, to be uncomfortable, because that is where your growth will happen. And I guarantee that if you learn these skills that we're talking about, content creation, really pricing, packaging, positioning your offer, understanding marketing, understanding how to get conversations started, understanding how to make sales consistently, those are skills you will have for life. You might choose to work with us after the 90 days, or you might choose to say goodbye. No one can take those skills away from you. You can start an entirely new business, and those exact same skills are going to be what you use. We've started an agency this year. We've launched new products and programs this year. Guess what? We're not learning new things. It's all the same foundational principles. We are using the same methods. We apply them differently. They look different based on what we're selling, but they're the same. In 20 years from now, guess what? I could start a new company like that. We could start another agency. We can start another program. You know why? Because we know what we need to do. We know the foundational skills. So you've got to be willing to build those skills, just like an athlete who wants to learn a new skill. Just like those cheerleaders who used to come in, they got to learn those basics before they learn that back handspring. You've got to be willing to do that work. And guess what? Everyone who learns a back handspring, they fall on their face sometimes. It's just real life. It happens. You know what? Once they learn it, once a girl actually learns back handspring, it becomes muscle memory. It becomes so easy for her. And this skill that was a goal for so long becomes second nature. That's when they start doing them on the balance beam. They're doing it on the floor at first, and then they move up to 4 inches of wood that's 6 feet off the ground. That is something that happens with your sales, with your marketing. Once you make a 10K sale, guess what? It becomes easier. Then you can make a 15K sale and a 20K sale, and your ability, your capacity grows exponentially. So make sure that you're not settling, okay? Make sure that you are not saying, you know what? I'm going to figure this out alone. I want results and I want them fast, but I can't do this. I want you to really think about what you're going to feel like on New Year's Eve this year. I want you to feel the feeling. Like, what are you going to feel on New Year's Eve this year? Are you going to feel like you crushed it? Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. Are you going to feel like, oh, I wish I had done something sooner? I want you to feel like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this, because there's no better feeling. I have felt that, and there is no better feeling. So I'm going to bring on one more guest. If you haven't already, kellyroachcoaching.com/sprint. And if you have questions, you can reach out to your concierge. So they are here. They're happy to hop on a phone call with you. So hello, Crystal. How are you?
Hi, Danielle. I am wonderful. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting us. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your business?
Sure. My name is Crystal Malari, aka Coach Crystal. I am a former Broadway performer turned behavior change coach and fitness professional, and I help corporate women over 40 crush self-sabotaging behaviors to create a sustainable, healthy lifestyle and love the skin they're in.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about your before and after picture. What did your business look like before joining us, and what does it look like now?
100%. So pre-COVID, I actually owned a brick and mortar, a weight loss and fitness studio. And like so many of us were affected by this pandemic, and we ultimately had to close our doors permanently. And we pivoted from brick and mortar to 100% online. So, going from brick and mortar to online, it's a completely different beast. So that's when I was, seeking mentorship and a program to help me build my business. I had lost about 50% of my in-house members, all of them thinking, oh, in a couple of weeks, when you reopen, I'll come back. And hence 2.5 years later, that wasn't necessarily the case. So we decided to pivot 100% online. And, Kelly Roach and the team of coaches like yourself have been awesome in terms of helping us grow our business online.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what that looked like, because I think this is such a unique scenario. And actually, Dr. Angela had something similar where you just had to make this decision, this call, and then go into this world that was just so different, right? And you're, again, you understand business, you were successful, but now everything is, the script is flipped. You got to learn all this new stuff. Tell me about some of the lessons you've learned, the support you've gotten.
100%. So, in terms of marketing, our, Facebook ads and marketing efforts would be within a 5 to 10 kilometer radius, because being in the fitness industry, it's all about convenience. So now that we're literally available worldwide, what do you do with that? Where do you even begin with the marketing? So that's where your expertise came in. We were really able to narrow in and nail down our niche, which would help our marketing. We also were able to increase our prices, which I was actually mind blown, really solidify our packaging and our position and our offering. So with the help of Kelly and the team of coaches, we were able to develop our brand, make a name for ourselves in the online space, which can be intimidating.
There is no harder space to do that than health and wellness online.
100%. But again, like with your expertise as well, we were really able to nail down that niche and learn how to qualify leads, which was a huge thing. I had no idea. I mean, again, when you own a brick and mortar, anyone that comes through, you do a face-to-face consultation. So that wasn't the case with an online. I didn't know where to begin. So learning, how do I get leads in? How do I qualify them? How do I stand out? And this, what is it, blue ocean, right? So that was what I truly believe helped us pivot, being completely green when it comes to building an online business.
Yeah, and I want to highlight a few things there, because you mentioned that you got clear on your niche and your avatar. You got clear on your marketing message and where you were going. You got clear on how to qualify. And for those of you who are like, what's she talking about? You want to actually make sure someone is qualified to even join you before you hop on a call with them. And we teach you that process, because it's so critical to not waste time with people that are never going to buy from you. And then you shared that you were able to figure out how to stand out in a crowded market. And like I said, I wrote for Health and Fitness Pros for years. Like, there's nothing harder than health and fitness in the online world. So that is a saturated market. So Crystal can do it. Y'all can do this, because it is a totally different beast in that world. So all of those things are things we're covering in the sprint. So if you're like, yes, I need to get clear on my niche. Yes, I need to get clear on my avatar. I don't know how to go to market. I don't know how to stand out. Those are all things we teach. And now you know, right? So if you wanted to do some other program, you wanted to start some other niche, you could take those same principles and apply them. So tell us about some of your wins. What are some things that have, happened over the last, amount of time that you've been working with us?
I would definitely say, learning how to, one of the practices that we developed was our 5-day live launch. That was huge for us. Mastering how to present, a 5-day challenge, and throughout that process, opening cart and feeling really confident in qualifying them. And we were able to double the amount of members we have. Again, like, I'm based out of Toronto, Canada. So we were, basically concentrating a 5-10 kilometer radius, but now we have women all across North America. We actually recruited our first member from London, UK. So the sky's the limit. It truly is. But we needed that mentorship. And like you said, we learned all of these systems. So if you are new to the online world, don't waste time, honestly, because you can do all the things, but if you're not doing it in the correct order, if you don't have the right mentorship, if you don't have a step-by-step plan, you're going to waste valuable time. So I would say, doubling our membership base. We our last live launch, we closed 50K. Which was unheard of in my brick and mortar in 5 days. So, that's the kind of thing, if you really put your head down and follow the step-by-step plan and implement the systems, you're really going to take off with your online business.
Yeah. And 50K, y'all, that's 5 times the investment in this program. And then you have all the skills, so you can keep doing it again and again. So it's not like you just did it that one time and you're like, oh, all right, hoping for the best. You know what's next and how to do that. So again, I want you to think in terms of, how many people would I actually need to sell to in order to make this money back? I promise for most of you, it's going to be 1, 2, maybe 3 max. So you guys have this at your fingertips. It is so simple to see the big number and be like, oh my gosh, that seems like a lot. When you think about what it actually means in terms of sales, it's not, because we're going to help you build that high ticket price point, which you mentioned, especially in fitness. It's actually, I'd love for you to share a little bit about that, because it is a little bit harder to charge high ticket in the fitness world, where there are apps that are $12. So how were you able to kind of move into that higher price point and feel confident about it?
Yeah, great question. So it was a process where each launch we continued to raise our prices a little bit. You gain more confidence, of course. And, my learning in this is to really saturate the amount of transformations that we are able to provide. And so the proof is in the pudding, right? And so, we have a ton of transformations, a ton of testimonials that we, present in our social platforms. And we're really, really confident in what we do. And so when you are confident in your abilities, when you have a clear price package and your positioning is on point, eventually feeling confident with your high ticket offer, it's just going to become natural to you. So, because I know I was fearful for sure. When we were coached, start at this price point, I thought, what? That was already double what we were charging in our brick and mortar. But like little by little, again, over the course of a year, we are at this price point where you're right. It doesn't take many to hit that, 50K. So I'm just super grateful for everything that we learned, for sure.
I love that. So before you hop off, what is one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's still hesitating? They're still not sure.
I completely understand your fear, but if you are feeling a calling and this is your passion and your purpose, then you truly need a mentor who walks the talk. You want to join someone who has done it all for you, have learned from their mistakes so that you don't have to make them. And as I mentioned before, time is so precious. So why are you going to waste time trying to figure things out on your own when you literally have a system that is step by step? They're going to meet you where you're at and help you develop wherever your gaps are. They're going to fill those gaps. So that's what I would say. There's no better time than now. If the pandemic has taught us anything, time and life is really short. So why are you going to waste time?
Amen. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for being committed to your own vision and all the lives that you change because of that. We appreciate you. I hope you have an incredible rest of your Friday.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right, everyone. I'm going to hop off. So here's the deal. You have until Sunday night to watch the rest of our replays. I saw someone asking about the worksheet and if we're going to use this in future trainings. We've actually gone through everything in the worksheet in the last 4 sessions. So you're going to want to check those out. We have lots of points that you can go through, take many, many notes. I know many of you have taken notes already. The replays are going to be available until Sunday. Monday morning, our first email goes out with your activity, your training. So that's coming in an email Monday morning. And then Friday is our first group call. And I gave it a little bit of extra time in that first week because I know you're going to be getting used to some stuff. You're going to go through some trainings, and I wanted to give that space and time and energy to give you that breathing room. So we'll have our first meeting on Friday, and then we will meet every Wednesday after that. There will be new trainings and content that will be laser focused on only the things you need to do to grow your business. If you're someone who's wondering, hey, are you going to teach us how to launch? If it makes sense for your business and where you are, absolutely. We won't teach you to launch until you're ready, because launching before you're ready doesn't ever work. But if you are at a place in your business where it makes sense, we will absolutely walk you through that. We have walked people through at hundreds of 6-figure, 7-figure launches. So we know how to do that in and out. Kelly created the launch method that we use and that we teach. It has helped people literally leap revenue-wise time after time. So we will absolutely help you with that when the time comes. If you are like, I really need help just getting clear on my niche, my avatar, and getting a few one-on-one clients, we will start there. Again, this is not a cookie cutter approach. We're not going to say, here's our funnel, just plug in your copy and let it run. We are going to help you build the business that you want to build, serving the people you want to serve in a way that feels in alignment with your lifestyle. Because who wants to make $1 million and be miserable? Nobody. You want to make $1 million and love the life you've built. So if that is something you are committed to, kellyroachcoaching.com sprint, kellyroachcoaching.com sprint. We're going to pop back in this weekend with some bonus, but I want you to get on a call with your concierge if you haven't already done that. Even if you're like, oh, I don't know if this works, book the call so you can actually figure out if this is right for you. If it's not, they will tell you. If it's not, we don't want people coming into the program that aren't going to be a good fit. I got to spend 90 days with you. I want it to be perfect. So you have got to be committed to doing the work. It's got to make sense for where you are in your life and business. But if it is for you, we're going to encourage you to take the leap because we know the success that waits around the corner. So if you're ready to do the work, if you're ready to show up for yourself, if you're ready to go into this year's New Year's Eve feeling like, dang, I crushed it. Like, I can't believe the things I accomplished this year, then go ahead on over to kellyroachcoaching.com/sprint, and I will see you inside.